Welcome back to the junk room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman. Look what my son got me for Father's Day. Indiana Jones. Legos. He had to put it together for me because I couldn't do it. But we're not going to talk Indiana Jones Legos today. Would be a cool, fun thing to talk about. But we're going to talk about this right here. Lunchboxes. Now, you're saying, Junkman, you've done videos on lunchboxes before. And about 4 years ago, I did do a video where I ran down every lunchbox I had of every year in school. And at first I thought I would just upload that again, but I watched it and I said, you know, I just want to refresh it. So if you saw it 4 years ago, I'm sorry about that. I think it's one of those we got to revisit, because who didn't love metal lunchboxes? Now, I keep my action figures in it now. No more bologna sandwiches for me, but there was a time when, you know, I actually used it as a toy box. When I got done with it and got a new one, I would use it as a toy box sometimes. Especially if I was going over to a friend's house or something, throw stuff in there and take it. So a lunchbox could be a lot more than just a lunchbox. But we're going to run down each year I had in school of each lunchbox. And to be honest with you, I know I collect a lot of toys, but I would love to get all these lunchboxes again. I have all the Star Wars ones, and I do have some other ones, but it would be fun to have all the ones I had in school, because it was really fun each year. You know, I dreaded going back to school like many of you did, but you remember them, like a week before school or the weekend before school, your parent would take you to the store, pick out notebooks and folders and pencils and pens. It was kind of exciting. It was kind of like an educational Christmas, you know. You couldn't get too excited because you're going back to school, and you were a little nervous too going back to school, but it was fun getting all that new stuff. It was always kind of fun. So let's go all the way back to my years in kindergarten. That's right, kindergarten. Or maybe you call it Montessori. I've heard that used before. Now it sounds like a dinosaur if you ask me. But let's start with kindergarten. And did I have a lunchbox? Yes, I did. Did I have my own lunchbox? No. My brother, I guess he was probably in maybe the third grade or something. Well, he got a new lunchbox and I got me a hand-me-down. But don't get me wrong. It's not like I got strawberry shortcake or something horrible. I got $6 Million Man. That's right. This wasn't the $2 million man. It wasn't the $5 million man. Right there, the golden spot. $6 Million Man. I didn't mind taking it to school. It looks really cool. So for kindergarten, I took the $6 Million Man. Now, let's go into the first grade. And there's no shock here, because about 1977 is when I entered the first grade. And as you can imagine, I took Star Wars. I took Star Wars lunchbox. Look at this thing. Nervous. Not only was it the first day of school, it was a whole different building. Didn't know anybody, so this made me feel a little bit better. Because I remember getting it before school. I don't remember how long, but I can remember I have very small memory. I was very young of looking at it, getting ready for school. So I'm pretty sure I got it before school, so it was kind of comforting. And I probably snuck some action figures, probably put an Obi-Wan Kenobi in my sandwich or something so I could sneak it to school with a thermos and everything. I had the Star Wars lunchbox. Now, we're through with the first grade. I'm gone to the second grade. That's right, Junkman has moved on from first grade to second grade, and he had to retire Star Wars lunchbox. You can't go to school the following year with the same lunchbox. You just don't do that. That's uncool. So there was no new Star Wars movie. So what else was I gonna get? It had to be something cool. I knew I couldn't top Star Wars, so I got something else. Superman. Superman was a huge movie at this time. Everyone loved Superman, and I had a Superman lunchbox. I liked I could lay a piece of paper on it. It was kind of like a 3D. You know, they popped up a little bit, and you could rub a pencil on it. It would look like you drew it. It was hard to explain. But here I was with a Superman lunchbox. Honestly, I have no real memory of this. I know when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I remember that lunchbox. I know I had it, but I have no fond memories of it. Actually, the only really memories I have of it is years later, finding it at my house. My parents, I didn't own a house when I was a kid. Finding it and be like, oh yeah, my lunchbox when I was a kid. Maybe it had been a hand-me-down also. I don't know. Well, no, because of the time frame, I guess it wouldn't have been a hand-me-down. Sorry about that. So let's move on to the second grade. Star Wars was back, but it wasn't Star Wars, or a few kids call it New Hope. No, it was time for The Empire Strikes Back. A blue lunchbox, and I believe the thermos had Yoda on it. Don't hold me to that, but I believe the thermos did. There I was, going back to school. Empire Strikes. It was my time to tell, came out of that May, school ended. Now I could tell everybody, hey, look, I'm a Star Wars fan. But I think everybody that knew me knew that. So there I was in the 2nd grade with The Empire Strikes Back, a lunchbox. And then, junk kid had to repeat the 2nd grade. I had to repeat the 2nd grade. I've had to repeat grades before in my life. So, 2nd grade, my parents decided to send me to a private school. Went to a different school that was probably about 30 miles away. Had to get on the bus. Before that, I was just walking to school. I had to go to the bus. And this was a whole different experience. Although my friend across the street, Boyd, went to that school too, so it made it a little bit better. We rode the bus together, and he had a lunchbox, I had a lunchbox, so it was really good. So to start this new school, I had to, something that really sold myself, but Empire was out. It was a year old. Star Wars was gone. So how can I express myself at this new school to say, hey, look, this is me. This is who I am. Because a lunchbox told a lot about yourself. So I came to school, 2nd grade again, at this new school with a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox. No Corey and Vance for me. We're talking Bo and Luke Duke. Great lunchbox. And I was obsessed with this show back in the day. I loved the Dukes of Hazzard. I wish I could find it today just to see if I still love it as much as I did back then. But I love Dukes of Hazzard. And here I was, 2nd grade, meeting a lot of new people. My friend Boyd, we became closer friends because we went to school together. And that's where I found Amy. You've heard me talk about Amy before. My love, I wanted her attention so bad. And going into the 3rd grade, I knew how to get her attention. A lunchbox. No, I couldn't just come to school with any lunchbox. I had to show her that I knew her, that I liked what she liked. And I knew that she, like a lot of people, there was a virus going around this time of the summer. And she got the virus. And that virus was called PacMan fever. We all had it. And I knew I had to have me a PacMan lunchbox. So I picked up, going into the 3rd grade, a PacMan lunchbox. I believe I also had a PacMan backpack. I have vaguely small memory of that. Maybe someone else had it, and I just think I had it, but I can barely remember that. So I went to school with my PacMan lunchbox. Oh, Amy is gonna love that. Well, I don't think she ever noticed I had a PacMan lunchbox, or maybe she didn't care. Chances are she didn't care. Somebody could have told her, hey, he's got a PacMan lunchbox. She was like, so? So, no PacMan. So, here's the thing about the PacMan lunchbox. I don't even say I said this in the original video. About November, probably right before Thanksgiving time, I threw that PacMan lunchbox into the woods. Tossed it. PacMan was cool, but it seemed to run its course pretty fast. It seemed like it was really cool in the summertime, and back to school it was cool, but then it started to run its course. I think I saw a lot of the younger kids, kindergarten and 1st grade, with PacMan stuff. Didn't seem to win me any favors with Amy, so kind of just tossed it. Told my mom I left it on the bus, and it went missing. So I had to eat lunch with no lunchbox for a little while. But at Christmas time, I actually asked for a lunchbox. I can't believe it. I asked for a lunchbox. First time I got a lunchbox. In the usually start with a lunchbox, and that's the one you end with. But I got something else that's really speak to me. I wasn't trying. I didn't like this. I did like PacMan. I had to express who I was. I couldn't just get a lunchbox and say this is for people who like me. I want this girl to like me, so I'm gonna get a lunchbox she like. I had to get one that spoke to me at this time. So there was no other choice to get, and I got it. HeMan, or as you call it, maybe Masters Universe. We just called it HeMan. HeMan and the Masters Universe. And I was really into HeMan at this time. I was starting to really get into HeMan, that is. So halfway through that grade, what were we on, the 3rd grade? Yeah, 4th grade. Sorry, we're in the 4th grade now. Halfway through the 4th grade, I had a HeMan lunchbox. And then that brings us to the 5th grade. I don't think this is any surprise here. I think you know what I'm going to say. I had it. Return of the Jedi. That's right. I was returning to my love for Star Wars. I had missed it for 3 years, and I was back in love with Star Wars, and I didn't care who knew. But there was a problem. the thermos came with an Ewok on it. I wasn't about to drink my Yoo-hoo out of a thermos that had an Ewok on it. So I usually left it at home. Unless I decided to bring some soup or something, then maybe I would bring it. But a lot of times I just kind of chunked that to the side. I liked Ewoks. I didn't bash on them, but I didn't want to draw my attention to them and get me on the bully beat down list. Anyone who knows my videos know about that. So there I was, Return of the Jedi, and then we moved into the 6th grade. The 6th grade. Finally, I could express my love for Indiana Jones. No, there was no Raiders of the Lost Ark lunchbox. Sad, I know. They didn't make one, but they did make one for Temple of Doom. Happy to say I still have that lunchbox today. It's one of the few I held on with. This is my original Star Wars lunchbox. I don't know what happened to my Empire or Jedi. I had to go back and rebuy them, and I still got my Temple of Doom lunchbox. And I love this. Is the lunchbox out of all of them. I can remember like taking to school, going to the store, going and picking it out, getting excited I saw it at the store. I can remember everything about this lunchbox. The thermos, it had a little top, it had a little built-in straws. First time I seen that, I think, and I loved it. So I had Temple of Doom lunchbox to let everyone know what everyone already knew about me, is I loved Indiana Jones. I'm so excited. Look, I got an Indiana Jones Lego, 50 years old. There's a new Indiana Jones movie coming out, and I hear people say, who asked for a new Indiana Jones? Who? Just 3 Indiana Jones. Let's just end it right. No, give me as many Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford as you can for I die, for he dies. Give me, I don't care if they're good or bad, just give me more. I can't believe I'm living in a world where I grew up as a kid loving Indiana Jones, and now as an adult, I get to take my son to see Indiana Jones. I can't believe it. So my dad was really into like westerns and stuff. He didn't get to see John Wayne, one of John Wayne's characters, come back when he was in his 50s and take me to go see it. So I'm all excited for Indiana Jones. But that was Indiana Jones, and then we move off. We graduated from elementary school into middle school. There I was, middle school, 7th grade. I couldn't bring a metal lunchbox, sorry. I had to do the old-fashioned brown bag. I had to bring a brown bag. You put your sandwich in it, put your little juice box in it or something, maybe an apple, pear. I don't think I've ever had a pear in my whole life. But brown bag, 7th and 8th grade. Then high school. And you know I'm not bringing a lunchbox to high school. You're not even bringing a brown bag, because I was one of the cool kids. Or I wanted to be one of the cool kids. I'll let you decide. A lot of kids ate lunch. Nobody brought their own lunch. They ate lunch, but the cool kids hung out behind the lunchroom. Had a little smoking area. I know, kids smoked at school in the smoking area. It was crazy. I didn't smoke, but you hung out there. Luckily, if you could cheat the system, you could take 2 lunch breaks sometime and not get caught. But no cool person brought their lunch. They didn't eat in the cafeteria. You hung out at the back of the school with the smokers, the headbangers. You just hung out, chilled out, flirted with the girls, had fun, just hung out. And that's what I did throughout high school. So that's the end of my lunchbox saga. That's all my lunchboxes throughout the years. And I'd love to hear what lunchboxes you have. Did you have any that I had? Did you have one that maybe I didn't even know they made it? Like, I wish I had that one. Or did you have something crazy? Did you have like my friend Boyd had a Smurf lunchbox. I like the Smurfs, but I wasn't about to come to school with a Smurf lunchbox. I did talk myself out of buying an Alvin and the Chipmunks lunchbox sometime. Ooh, thank God for that. I did love the cartoon, but it's not something I want to express out there in the world at the time. But let me know what lunchboxes you had. Let me know if you had these, or if you didn't, or what you did have, what you had. Maybe one you wanted and didn't get, or maybe it's like, hey, I never had that. Or maybe one of those kids that had a plastic lunchbox. Oh boy, plastic. Well, I'm going to tell you about a Star Wars lunchbox that was create your own Star Wars lunchbox that was released back in the original OT days. So if you want to check, I'll have that up later this week. So I want to thank you for watching. Thumbs up, like my content, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.